Alright, you lot, strap on your exosuit and prep your caffeine IV drip. Because this time we're diving into an era when Call of Duty stopped being a war sim and started snotting G Fuel off a controller. From Modern Warfare 2 to Black Ops 3, this was arcade era. Quickscopes, nukes, RC cars, jetpacks, wall running. It was slick, stupid, sweaty, and utterly addictive. This is when COD became loudest, fastest, flashiest shooter on fucking planet, and still hadn't sold its soul to SBMM or shoved microtransactions so far up your ass they came out back of your wallet. So buckle up, this is Rise at Arcade, and it's gonna get messy. Modern Warfare 2 were a cultural fucking event. This game didn't just launch, it detonated. Quickscopes, noob tubes, nukes, Commando Pro, One Man Army, Danger Close. You weren't playing a shooter, you were playing a high-speed, legally questionable war drug. Campaign, legendary. No Russian, soap, Shepherd, betrayal, snowmobiles. Well, like a Michael Bay film, got blackout drunk and started yelling at Geneva Convention. Multiplayer, pure chaos. Balance, non-existent. Fairness, don't be soft. You got stomped, learned, adapted, or fucking quit. And when you did well, game fed you a Killstreak dopamine rush so potent you could smell your own ego expanding. UAV, Predator, Aria, AC-130, finally tactical nuke. 25 kills and boom, match over. Respect earned. Or abuse in your inbox. Both valid. But here's where crack started forming. Monetisation. Enter stimulus package. 4 maps, $11.99. That's £3 per fucking map. And 2 of them, Crash and Overgrown, were recycled from COD 4. Then they dropped Resurgence Pack. Another $11.99. Another 4 maps. 2 more recycled. And yet, we all bought it. Because game were that good, and 4 more were real. You didn't want to be one left behind when everyone else was stomping on fuel or spawn trapping on Carnival. This wasn't predatory yet, but it would start to keep up or get out model. If you didn't pay for maps, you were locked out of modes, booted from parties, or just plain stuck in 2009. And Activision, they took notes. Big fucking notes. MW2, what first time COD didn't just sell a game, it sold illusion of being behind if you didn't buy more. And we ate it up like it were our last fucking meal. And then Black Ops, where we at Treyarch went full conspiracy, wrapped it in Cold War paranoia, and shoved a pack of Semtex up the franchise's ass. And we loved it. Campaign? Psychological torture, numbers station, mind control, Reznov in your fucking head. You weren't sure if you were hero or experiment. Neither were Mason. It was cinematic, intense, and actually had something to say, unlike most shooters vomiting bullets and patriotism. Multiplayer, clean, tight, iconic, Nuketown, firing range, summit, jungle, map rotation hit harder than most shooters' entire rosters. Guns were punchy, customization were deep. You could literally design a dick emblem, slap it on your gun, and call it democracy. Then came wager matches. High risk, high reward grind where COD let you gamble with in-game currency like you were John Wick or kill confirmed. But let's talk monetisation, because this is when it officially became system. Activision introduced first proper season pass, 4 map packs, 10 to 12 quid each, totaling up to 40 odd quid, on top of 50 quid base game. That's close to 100 quid if you wanted to stay current. And what did you get? Each pack dropped with 4 multiplayer maps and 1 zombies map. Zombies, by the way, fucking legendary. Ascension, Call It Dead, Shangri-La, Moon, some of the best COD content ever created. And all of it paywalled. You didn't buy in, you got left behind. Couldn't play half at lobbies, got kicked from matches. Your friends moved on without you. This wasn't just DLC, it was gatekeeping fun. And it worked. We paid, we played, we begged for more. Because back then, even with price gouging, quality were too good to ignore. But this was turning point. Monetisation had structure now. It had legs. It had repeatable income projections. And it was just getting started. Black Ops were fucking brilliant, but it were also a blueprint for wallet-crushing future. And Activision knew it. They'd cracked formula. Make it excellent, lock it behind 4 paywalls, watch cash roll in. So Modern Warfare 3 would end the original arc at the moment Activision asked, what if Call of Duty had a fucking membership scheme? This game were everything MW2 was, just tighter, faster, and with more duct tape on broken bits. Campaign? Absolute mayhem. London gets bombed, America gets invaded again, Russia's gone full cartoon villain. Soap dies, Price goes full executioner, and Makarov gets what's coming. It were COD going full Hollywood war porn. and we fucking loved it. Multiplayer? Cracked. Guns were cleaner. Hit rates were tighter. Specialist strike package turned you into a god if you could stay alive long enough. And support package let bad players feel useful without turning a single kill. Everyone got to play, and everyone got to rage. Maps like Dome, Harder, Resistance, all bangers. And with Kill Confirmed, they gave us a mod where KD warriors actually had to move, not sit in corners sniffing claymores. But let's peel back skin and look at monetization rock, because this is when Activision launched Call of Duty Elite, a 40 quid a year premium subscription service that gave you early access to map packs, stat tracking, clan support, some exclusive in-game content, and a sense of superiority that smelled like G Fuel and daddy issues. It were pitched as ultimate experience, but let's be honest, it were a paywall with a spreadsheet, and it wasn't even permanent. You had to renew that shit annually, like a fucking gym membership for Killstreaks. Oh, and don't forget, they still drop 4 full price map packs even with Elite. $11.99 each if you didn't subscribe, which meant if you didn't pay for Elite, you were at a 100 quid price tag to get full experience. Base game 50 quid, map packs 48 quid, or Elite membership 40 quid. Either way, you're bleeding. But it worked, because gameplay was still top tier, and we still believed Activision were just trying to give us more. Spoiler, they weren't. MW3 were where monetization became institutionalized. No longer just DLC, now it were a fucking membership plan. And from here on out, well, it were no longer optional. It were expected. It were integrated. It were inevitable. The next game, Black Ops 2. High point at franchise at most expensive fucking COD to exist at launch if you actually wanted full experience. Let's start with good, cause my god it were good. Campaign? First in series to give you choices that actually matter. You could kill, spare, betray, fail objectives, and end in a chain. You weren't just on rails anymore, you were steering train into your own mess. Multiplayer? Pick 10 system let you build your class like a psychopath, ditch grenades, triple up on perks, or just run knives and paranoia. Maps? Raid, standoff, hijacked, all-timers. Guns? Laser accurate, punchy, sweaty. TTK were tight, gun balance was solid, Killstreaks melted faces. League play, starter ranked, COD casting, groundbreaking. BO2 didn't just play like a masterpiece, it looked like one. But again, let's talk monetization, cause this is where Activision said, right, time to really milk these bastards. Season Pass, yep, 40 quid, 4 map packs, plus $11.99 each. Bonus weapon in pack 2, fucking Peacekeeper, a gun, locked in a DLC. This wasn't just more maps, this were a new meta weapon behind a paywall, and that's not even counting personalisation packs. You want bacon camo? £1.79. Zombies themed reticles? Fork it over. Your gun to look like Lisa Frank's acid trip? They fucking sold it. It were cosmetics gone corporate. What started as a novelty became a core revenue stream. Suddenly people were buying camos instead of earning them. Prestige didn't mean shit if you could buy rainbow guns and tiger stripe titles. And zombies? Some of the best maps ever made locked behind DLC. Mob at Dead, Buried, Origin. You didn't buy in, you missed out. No matchmaking, no mercy. Full experience cost you over 100 quid. And if you didn't pay, get fucked. Black Ops 2 were glorious. But it were also a moment COD stopped being pay once, play forever, and became pay every few weeks or get left behind. Peak gameplay, peak polish, peak exploitation, and we fucking paid for it. All of us. Willingly. Like crackheads who thought first hit was still free. Then we hit Ghost. COD everyone pretends didn't happen. Dropped between Black Ops 2 and Advanced Warfare, and sandwiched tighter than a lag spike and a 2-bar connection. This one had 0 personality and 10,000 microtransactions. Campaign? Utter nonsense. You played as a mute soldier with a Navy SEAL dog, while villain tried to blow up America with a fucking space gun. It were MW2 level stupid, without charm or pacing, and it ended on a cliffhanger that never got resolved cause not even Activision wanted to go back there. Multiplayer? Fast, brutal, unforgiving. TTK were microscopic, blink and you're dead. Map design? Stonehaven was size of Scotland. Chasm were glitchy vertical nightmare. And Freefall? Dynamic map that changed. Once. Neat idea, but real highlight what guns. Remington R5, MSBS, Honey Badger, all slapped. New addition, create a soldier, build your own perk setup stuff. Cool, but cluttered as hell. Extinction mode, aliens instead of zombies. Not bad, not great, mostly forgettable. but at least it tried. Monetization? Oh boy, here we go. They took Black Ops 2 personalization packs and multiplied them by 20. Licensed character skin, Michael Myers, Predator, Captain Price, Soap, voice packs. You could pay to have Snoop Dogg call out UAVs, weapon skin, reticles, and crosshair packs sold individually like a pick and mix for wallet abuse. Oh, and season pass? Still a thing. 40 quid, 4 map packs, same formula, same price, same guilt trip if you didn't buy. This is where monetization stopped pretending. It wasn't extra content anymore, it was front and centre. Shop were louder than campaign, and content, thinner. You paid more for less that mattered. And don't forget, Ghosts were cross-gen, which meant if you started on PS3 or Xbox 360 and upgraded to PS4 or Xbox One, you bought game twice. Activision, thanks for your loyalty. Now here's another 60 quid. Ghost wasn't a bad game, it was a soulless one. And monetization made damn sure you remembered where real war were being fought. Not in multiplayer, but in your fucking wallet. Advanced Warfare was a game where COD didn't just jump shark, it boost dodged over it in an exosuit, dropped a supply crate mid-air, and shouted, "Engagement metrics!" somewhere down. Campaign? Kevin Spacey awkwardly staring at you in 4K, rambling about democracy while launching drone strikes like he's ordering Uber Eats. It were flashy, overacted, and wrote checks its writing couldn't cash. But you didn't care. You were too distracted by exo movement and wondering if your trigger finger had jet lag. Multiplayer? Faster than an alter for it. Boost jumps? Slide dodging? Wall sticking? You were no longer grounded. You were flying, twitching, bouncing off walls like a meth addict with magnets strapped to the feet. Some players loved it, others couldn't find the fucking bearings. But here's what everyone noticed. Monetization had gone full mask off. Enter supply drops. RNG boxes stuffed with cosmetic gear. Stat-altering weapon variant. Exclusive guns you couldn't unlock through gameplay. And about 67 duplicates at same elbow pad you already owned. You want BAL 27 Obsidian Steed or ASM 1 Speakeasy? Weapons that literally perform better than the default versions? You could grind, or you could buy keys, spin wheel, pray to RNGesus. This were gambling, plain and simple, and it worked. Kids spent thousands. Streamers made unboxing content. Activision sought dollar signs and said, "Right lads, we're never going back." Season pass? Still there. 40 quid. 4 map packs. Same shit. New jetpack. Cosmetics? Insane. Clown gear. Samurai helmets. Neon tights. You could look like a rejected Fortnite skin and still drop a 40 bomb cause your gun had 10% faster fire rate and 2% more cringe. Advanced Warfare were fun. It were fresh. It introduced rank play and actually gave a fuck about competitive structure. But it also ripped up at monetization floodgate. It wasn't about content anymore. It were about loot crates and player retention curves. This is a game that taught Activision you don't need to sell maps anymore. You just sell out, and then sell it again, and again, and again. And now with neon-drenched Climax at Arcade Era. Black Ops 3 were Apex Predator at Arcade Era. Twitchy, shiny, slick as oil on glass, and fully submerged in Activision's monetization swamp. Campaign? On-in cyber-psycho nonsense. You're a brain-modded super soldier hallucinating through a nanobot acid trip while some dead bloke's memories scream inside your skull. It made Black Ops 1's "What the numbers mean" look like fucking Shakespeare. And yet, people still played it. Why? Because co-op were in. 4-player campaign. You and your mates could experience descent into digital madness together, and that alone gave it legs. Multiplayer? Fluid. Vertical. Ridiculously smooth. Wall running, boost sliding, gunplay that felt like silk-covered violence. Every movement would control chaos. No campaign, no hiding, just aggression. Specialists, abilities and weapons tied to specific operators. You want to be arsehole slamming gravity spikes into groups of players every 30 seconds? Go for it. You want to fire compound bow that explode people like they made of jam and regret? That's Sparrow. And it fucking worked. It were a game that wanted you moving, killing and styling while doing it. Zombies, Shadow or Evil, Giant, Der Eisendrache, Revelations, peak chaos, peak storytelling, a convoluted cryptic overbuilt mess and fans devoured it. This were peak Zombies lore. Too complex? Probably, but gameplay slapped harder than ever. And monetization is where claws really dug in. Season pass, still there, 4 map packs, 40 quid. But now, black market supply drops. RNG weapon bribes, cosmetic variants, and yeah, base weapons locked behind crates. Want for far, aka Black Ops 1 for mass? Get spinning. Want Marshall 16s? Hope you got time. Or money, or both. It were pay to grind to pray, and it never ended. Daily challenges, bribe drop, contract, all funneling you back to the slot machine. You were no longer unlocking content, you were grinding for the chance to gamble for content. And people still loved the game, cause movement were god tier, maps were solid, content was stacked. Black Ops 3 was final boss at arcade COD. Everything era stood for. Speed, flash, depth, addiction, condensed into one glorious manipulated masterpiece. It was COD's last hurrah before it put exosuits away, looked at spreadsheets and said, right, now let's build a casino. And that's arcade era, where Call of Duty swapped its helmet for a monster cap and started wall running into your fucking wallet. From Modern Warfare 2's sweaty Killstreak cocaine to Black Ops 3's cyberpunk slot machine, this was COD at its loudest, flashiest, and most dangerously fun bullshit. It was still about gameplay, still about outgunning, outsmarting, and outsweating your opponent. No SBMM, no pay-to-win meta weapons drop mid-season, just chaos, skill, and enough energy drink sponsorship to give your Xbox a heart attack. But you could feel it, couldn't you? Rot, greed, creeping claws of corporate horse shit just behind curtain. Cause next came SBMM era, one where COD becomes a fucking product, not a game. That's episode 3, dropping on Thursday. And don't forget Scotty lands tomorrow. Your questions, my rants, no filters, no fuck skin. Join Discord, follow on X, grab a channel membership if you got balls. Smash like, hit subscribe, drop your comment below. Might feature it if it doesn't smell like reheated Reddit text. I'll see you next time, you magnificent.